This is...
Meet the ocean.
Are we recording?
I'm pretty sure we are.
A sailor, there's the
Through
light.
the sea of Adelie
The
penguins.
oceans are the biggest carbon sink of all.
Welcome to Meet the Ocean. I'm your host, Paul North, polar diving aficionado and man who lugs microphones around the world to share the stories of scientists, explorers, and other curious minds. Today is episode 100 and something. Honestly, I've lost track, which is a good thing, because that means that we have been producing high-quality conservation media for quite some time now. What do I mean by high quality? Well, Meet the Ocean has been recognized for 2 years running as a top podcast in science and education by none other than the Webby Awards. We certainly appreciate that, but as a nonprofit, one of those 501c3 organizations, we need your help to continue to produce our high-quality conservation media. Just so you know, we have over 50 interviews recorded, and that's with some of the best in the business, and they live in what we call Davy Jones' locker. But here's the thing. We can't open Davy Jones' locker until we achieve a monthly production budget. So, starting now, we are beginning a fundraiser to gather a minimum of $5,000 a month in order to do so. And we rely on our community of listeners and supporters to help get us there. So, if you dig our conservation content and wish to see it continue, consider signing up on our website for a monthly donation. Maybe it's $5, maybe it's $10, maybe it's a whale-sized donation. Whatever the case, it helps us continue our audio conservation theater, and of course, is tax-deductible as well. You can find more podcasts, ocean creatures, and ways to donate at meettheocean.org. Now, I just got back from diving the Arctic. Did I go underwater? You better believe it. And you're going to hear about that shortly, but before we dive in, I wanted to share the success of our event in Las Vegas titled Penguins in the Desert. To be clear, there are no penguins in the Arctic, or Las Vegas for that matter, but our conservation outreach knows no limitations. So we gathered a bunch of young, curious minds to experience virtual reality penguins, interactive Antarctic science, and even live performances from the Nevada Rhythmic Academy. Special thanks to them, Sage Provisions, and Rara Plasoy for helping us make it so. If you are interested in Meet the Ocean coming to where you are to educate about the polar regions, send us some details, and we would love to make it happen. Back to the top of our planet. Let's just get this one out there because I know everyone wants to know about polar bears. They were there, they were hungry, they were traversing the fast ice, and that's the sea ice that is still attached to the land. But then there was some on the pack ice, which is not connected to anything. Imagine miles of frozen water drifting around, pushed by the wind and the ocean currents, dotted with seals giving birth to their young and trying to hide from the largest carnivore on our planet. Of course, there were walrus too, plenty of them. Big, blubbery beasts, perfectly adapted to live in the harsh environments that the Arctic brings. Here's a few things about walrus you may not know. Both males and females have tusks. Certainly, they can use them for defense, if necessary, but their primary function is to use those tusks to haul themselves out onto the sea ice. It's not easy dragging all that weight up and out of the water, but they manage, and have for longer than humans have been on this planet. Very impressive overall. But today, the main topic I would like to discuss is plankton. Wait, that doesn't narrow it down necessarily, mostly because anything that cannot swim against the ocean current is considered a plankton. And this is quite different than how we categorize most other ocean critters. It's more of a behavioral classification or a ecological niche, really. But there is one plankton in particular, the copepod, that I would like to focus on. You probably already know a copepod without even realizing it. In fact, it was a copepod that just so happened to be the arch nemesis of none other than SpongeBob SquarePants. Wait, what? And something else that's true is that they are cyclops. And that means they only have one eye. Only one. For creatures as small as these, having large antennae, or anything that increases their surface area, allows them to conserve a whole lot of energy. Because without them, they would just be swimming the whole time, which burns a lot of necessary calories. More surface area equals more resistance to the surrounding water, and this kind of leads to an easier life overall. You just get to float instead of doggy paddling the whole time. Think of it that way. You can find copepods in both fresh and salt water. They are cousins of shrimp, meaning a crustacean, but perhaps most fascinating of all is that they are the most abundant animal living in the whole of the world's oceans. Small and numerous in an indescribable way. But I'm going to give it a try anyways. It was my last dive of the trip on board the National Geographic Resolution. We were well above the Arctic Circle, floating around the islands of northern Norway. The water clarity was quite poor, which is normal in such seasons because the algae blooms are kicking off from all that summer sun. I was floating about 20 feet below the surface, and my eyes were struggling to focus. But it wasn't because anything was wrong. It was because there was so much life swimming right in front of me, around me, below and above me. And about 90% of it was all, you guessed it, copepods. They were crawling on my mask, on my camera, on my hands, too small to photograph but large enough to appreciate. The ocean shows us so many things. But it is in moments like this when you realize its true abundance, and you begin to understand the rhythm of the ecosystem. My name is Paul North, and I thank you for listening. And remember to help us unlock Davy Jones' locker by adding a monthly donation on our website, and tell your friends and family about our free educational content available for all ages. This way, Meet the Ocean can continue doing what we do so well for many years to come. Until next time, friends, may the salt water be with you.